Hi, and welcome to That's Already Mysterious. Join me for an intriguing look into real-life mysteries. Who was the Mad Gasser of Mattoon? What was whaling at the Wilga Waterhole? I'm not going to solve those mysteries, but they'll be interesting to learn about. I'm your host, Kelly with an I. Transcripts and references for all episodes can be found at that'sreadymysterious.wordpress.com. No apostrophe and no exclamation point. Today's tale is about Teniky. Teniky can be found in southern Madagascar on the island of Asalo Massif. It's within the Asalo National Park. Despite the location of Teniky, the closest architectural parallels can be found in modern-day Iran. Teniky is spread across a little over 30 hectares or 75 acres. It's roughly 200 kilometers or 124 miles east of the Mozambique Channel and 275 kilometers or 170 miles west of the Indian Ocean. Teniky can only be reached on foot. It's a 20-kilometer or 12.5-mile hike on foot over rugged terrain and across steep canyons. Teniky is a rock-cut architectural complex with no known equals on the island or in the nearby East African coast. It's possibly linked to Zoroastrian communities and also to long-distance migration and trade. Teniky was originally thought to be just a fluvial cirque or amphitheater-shaped valley formed by river erosion. However, a 2019 high-resolution satellite imagery study revealed the extent of the architectural site, and it was much bigger than previously known. The satellite images showed the presence of a large number of terraces and linear, rectangular structures on a north-south trending hill west of the Sahanafo River, about 2.5 kilometers or 1.5 miles from the originally discovered cirque. The cirque is the best-known and most prominent feature of Teniky. Nearby the cirque is the Grand Grotto, or Cave of the Portuguese, which is a large rock shelter that's defined by neatly built sandstone walls. The walls are built of carefully stacked stones without the use of mortar. Excavations in 2021 and 2022, led by Guido Schreurs, Associate Professor at the University of Bern's Institute of Geological Sciences, have revealed a variety of rock-carved structures and features at Teniky. There are artificial terraces, sandstone walls, niches carved into cliffs, stone basins, quarries, and 6 stone tombs. They even found some charcoal at Teniky, which they radiocarbon dated. The analysis showed that structures were likely built between the 10th and 12th centuries CE. A discovery of imported ceramics from China and Southeast Asia were dated to between the 11th and 14th centuries. This discovery shows that the people who lived at Teniky were involved in the Indian Ocean trade networks during the medieval period, which is strange considering they were so far from the coast. The 6 stone tombs they found were mostly on ridges at higher elevations. The tombs were just about square and were roughly 1 to 1.5 meters, or just over 3 to just under 5 feet high. All of the tombs showed signs of destruction and looting. According to local guides, the tombs were associated with the Sakalava ethnic group. The archaeologists said, "The closest stylistic parallels are found in Iran, where a multitude of archaeological sites show niches cut in steep rock walls dating to the 1st millennium AD or earlier. The closest parallels are found specifically in the Fars region of present-day Iran." The archaeologists also said, "Most rock-cut niches in the cirque are considered to have had a ritual function, including the semicircular and rectangular niches and the niche with a raised bench inside the rock shelter, the Grand Grot." They believe that Teniky was built by Zoroastrian settlers from Iran. If this is true, there is still a mystery. When did the Zoroastrians from Iran go to Madagascar? And if they interacted with other communities on the island, why did they abandon the site? Iranian niches that are close matches for Teniky are associated with Zoroastrian funerary practices, which date to the 1st millennium CE. Was Teniky an acropolis constructed by settlers of Zoroastrian origin? If so, this raises questions about early migration to Madagascar. The people who constructed the structures at Teniky may have brought their religions and cultural traditions from outside the island, possibly from Iran, but also possibly from other parts of the Zoroastrian world. It's also possible that the settlers' beliefs and rituals changed after they came to Madagascar, with their similarities to Zoroastrian structures just being coincidental. In the early 20th century, French naturalists Alfred and Guillaume Grandidier came up with a theory that the structures at Teniky were built by Portuguese sailors who were shipwrecked on the island in the 16th century. Research has ruled this theory out. The Portuguese didn't enter the Indian Ocean until 1498. They may have visited the site, but there is no evidence of their actual presence. We need to understand where and when these settlers first arrived on the coast of Madagascar, why they moved inland to Teniky, how they interacted with other populations on the island, and when and why the site was eventually abandoned, Dr. Schroer said. He told Newsweek, supposedly in the 16th century AD, a Portuguese ship had sunk on the Malagasy coast, and the crew had traversed the island to go to another part of the coast where it was more likely that the Portuguese ships on their way to India would pass. During their traverse, they supposedly stayed in the Asalo National Park, and while there built the stone walls. After visiting an exhibition in Teniky in 2010, which featured photos of the Grottes de Português, he began to wonder whether or not the Portuguese actually built the wall. He wondered why they would go to such effort if they were only passing through. More research has shown that the Portuguese did not build the wall. Zoroastrianism is an ancient monotheistic religion that was practiced throughout the Persian Empire and is still practiced today without interruption. The funerary practices of Zoroastrianism forbids burial in the ground. The researchers believe that the chambers found in the cliffs once served as necropolises. Some of the smaller chambers may have been used to dry out and store the bones of the dead. The research into Teniky is not complete. There will be further excavations in 2025 and likely into the future. Who built the structures at Teniky? If it was Zoroastrian settlers, why did they abandon the site? What do you think? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks for listening to today's episode of That's Ready Mysterious. Join me next week for another captivating mystery.